If God is really in control of everything, then do my choices even matter? That question haunts people. It creeps into your thoughts late at night, especially when you're wrestling with pain, sin, or unanswered prayers. If God is sovereign, then what's the point of trying? And if I'm free, does that mean God isn't truly in control? This isn't just theology, it's personal. And the answer is deeper and more beautiful than most people realize. God's power versus our choice. The Bible teaches both. God is sovereign and man is responsible. That's not a contradiction, it's a tension, and God designed it that way. From Genesis to Revelation, Scripture shows a God who orchestrates history with absolute authority and holds human beings accountable for their choices. He hardened Pharaoh's heart, but Pharaoh was still guilty. Judas was prophesied to betray Jesus, but Judas still chose to do it. These weren't puppets on strings. These were real decisions with eternal consequences under the gaze of a sovereign God. Why free will matters. God didn't make you a robot, He made you in His image. That includes the ability to think, to love, and yes, to choose. Because real love must involve real freedom. Forced obedience isn't love. Worship without choice isn't worship. So God in His sovereignty gave you the terrifying and beautiful gift of free will. You're not a puppet. You're responsible. And that responsibility comes with real weight. Because the same freedom that lets you choose Him also lets you walk away. But here's where God's power shines. Your choices are real. And God is still in control. That's sovereignty. He doesn't have to micromanage every move to guarantee His plan. He's so powerful, He can let people choose and still accomplish His will. That's how Jesus was crucified, the greatest evil ever committed. And yet it fulfilled God's plan to save the world. Man's worst decision, God's greatest victory. Your free will never overrules God, but it does reveal who you serve. Our culture says freedom means doing whatever you want, but that's a lie. Jesus said, "Everyone who sins is a slave to sin," John 8:34. Sin feels like freedom until the chains tighten. Real freedom is the ability to do what's right, not just what you crave. And that's a freedom you'll never have without Christ. The world says, follow your heart. But God says, the heart is deceitful above all things. You don't need more freedom to sin. You need the kind of freedom that can only come from the truth. And Jesus said, I am the truth. Here's the sobering truth. Free will is a gift, but it's not eternal. There's a deadline. One day, every choice will be locked in. Every decision will be judged. The offer of grace will end. Hebrews 9:27 says, "It is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment." Right now, you're free to choose, but you won't be free to delay forever. Every time you hear the gospel and walk away, your heart hardens. Don't mistake God's patience for permission. God has all the power in the universe, and yet He knocks. He waits. He invites. Why? Because love doesn't kick down the door. The cross proves that God could have destroyed us all, but instead He died for us, so we could choose Him. That's sovereignty, that's grace, that's love. And now the question isn't whether God has given you a choice. The question is, what will you do with it?